It is the 9th of June 2013. I'm standing here in Kildownit Graveyard in Achill Island in County Mayo, west of Ireland, on the edge of the Atlantic Ocean, beside the grave of a little girl called Kathleen Kilbane, who died on the 7th of October 1947, the feast day of the Holy Rosary. A little girl we would know nothing about, but for this little book, no more tears in my eyes. Kathleen spent the last year of her life in a sanatorium in Ballinrobe, where she died at the age of 13 years. She was befriended in this last year by Brother Anselm Conway, who kept notes of all that was said by her. It is a sad story, but as the book says, sometimes sad stories are the best. Why not read the little book for yourself? Kathleen said, "It's very lonely in the graveyard if nobody comes to you. When I am dead, will you talk to me? Just like you used to talk to me here." She went on to say, I will be always listening to you if you talk to me. And I don't mind dying if I know you will often talking to me when I am gone. Yes, Kathleen, I am here talking to you now. I have travelled many miles to be with you. Where you are today, Kathleen, pray for us who are left down here below. I have placed on your grave, Kathleen, a little stone plaque from the exact spot of the Ballymanus landmine disaster on the 10th of May 1943 on the west coast of County Donegal. 22 people lost their lives that day, some of them around your age. I cannot end here until I tell you at the end of the book is the words. The real Kathleen, the child you've been reading about, is not dead. She is alive in heaven. While you were reading about her, she was with you, anxious to know if you like her. And if you did like her, you have made her happier. If you like her, tell her so. And remember the promise she made, a promise she will faithfully keep. If anyone hears about me and likes me, I will always help them, and will help them always to be good. Kathleen, I have placed a blue ribbon that you love so much and a white rose on your grave. You said yourself, blue is the Virgin Mary's favourite colour, and the white rose that bloomed for the first time when you left this world. I will say a chaplet of the Divine Mercy for all those who are in this graveyard, including Kathleen's grandmother, who lies with her, and also for the 10 teenagers who lost their lives in Scotland in September of 1937.
láthair, agus an bheith, agus an spirit, naomh. Amen.
Kathleen, in earthly time, it is but a year since I visited your grave for the first time. This time I have brought with me something I know you would have liked. It is a little blessed statue of our Most Holy Mother Mary. It's for you, Kathleen, and also for all the Kilbane family, for all the times you kept saying the Rosary. Our Blessed Mother was listening to you, as she listens to all who ask for her help. Your light never went out, Kathleen. It shines as an example to us all. I have also brought with me a little wooden plaque sent to you from Viviana in Argentina, the land of our Holy Father. She cannot be here with you today, but she sends you her love. To anyone who is troubled in any way, why not come here and talk to Kathleen? She is listening to you, and you will find that what is troubling you will melt away like snow under the heat of the sun. And the white rose that bloomed for the first time at her death was placed in her hands and was buried with her. It will become yours, for she will share it with you. She was that kind of girl. Dressed in a kilted plaid, she danced a lot of Scottish steps and sang songs she learnt at school. Her favourite song was "Did Your Mother Come From Ireland?" and also "Where Did You Get Those Irish Eyes of Blue?" Little did we think that evening that within a year she would be dead.
Did your mother come from Ireland? 'Cause there's something in you Irish. Will you tell me where you get those Irish eyes?
While Kathleen was on my knees, I felt I was near a saint, and that she was a real saint, who liked to play games, get letters and presents, and who loved to nestle close to anyone who was fond of her. When the other patients had finished their tea, they left to do various jobs in their wards, and we were left alone with no sound to break the silence in the home of the sick and the dying, while the trees outside began to lose their shape in the gathering dusk of a spring evening. Sometimes, as she nestled close, I could see only the top of her dark brown head, with a blue ribbon tied in a large bow. Whenever her ribbon got worn, she used to ask me to get her another.
Wide and blue.
She used to advise me.
And blue is the Blessed Virgin's colour.
I knew then that this was her tribute to the Blessed Virgin, and even during the last weeks of her life, when her pain was so great, she could not bear anything, not even the bedclothes, to touch her body without hurting her. And she was so weak that she could no longer say her rosaries. She always wore her big blue ribbon as a continued silent prayer to the Mother of God. On one occasion, when I called to see her, she produced half a crown from under the pillow, and she asked me if that was a lot of money. Somebody had given her the half crown, and as she had no experience of money, she did not know what its value was. I told her it was a lot of money for a little girl to have. Then she handed it to me and compelled me to take it.
You've given me a lot of things, and I have given you nothing. You must take this money, and don't buy me anything with it. Buy something for yourself.
This was just one example of her generous heart. Whenever she gave anything, she gave all and held nothing back.
Cray Sanatorium, 12th of July, 1947. To my dearest Reverend Brother, I am very lonely after you. I miss you very much. I was crying all that day after you left. I cried so much that there were no more tears left in my eyes. Love from your own loving child, Kathleen. Bye-bye. P.S. I am here a year today.
There is something pathetic in the eyes of a hungry child, and that look was in Kathleen's eyes that evening when she said the simple words,
I'm hungry.
She had not eaten anything for 2 days. A woman in town made the jelly which was brought in jars to Kathleen until she became too weak to even take jelly. I remember coming home from the sanatorium one Tuesday evening. The sky overhead was darkened with clouds, and rain began to fall in torrents, and darkness fell earlier than usual. From the top of a height on the pathway, I looked back and saw the lights of the sanatorium in the distance, glittering through the driving rain. There was a mysterious silence about the place, a silence that is felt in a room where a person is dying. The pathway through the woods was darker than usual, and the driving rain howled through the trees. The rain fell in such torrents that soon I was drenched wet. Earlier that evening I had seen a patient almost at the point of death, and in the darkness round I could still see his staring eyes, and the cracking of the branches overhead was like the rasping death rattle in his throat. But one felt no fear from the darkness round, or from the driving rain. There was a special comfort in an empty jam jar I was carrying back to get filled, a jar that had contained jelly to ease the hunger pains of a sick child. I remarked to her one evening, "When you go to heaven, you will not have a moment's rest. You will be so busy helping people, just like you always did here." Her face lit up with pleasure as she replied,
That is what I would love to be doing, always helping people.
"Suppose people ask you for something. Would you mind going to God and asking for it?" I asked. She thought for a while before she replied,
I don't know. I'm not sure until I go there. I might be afraid to go to God, but I know I would not be afraid of the Blessed Virgin. And that is what I will do. I would ask her, and she would ask God. And I will always remember those who were good to me.
"What about those who did not know you were here and would have helped you if they had known?" And then she made this extraordinary statement,
Anyone who will hear about me and who will like me, I will help them too. I will help them to be always good.
Rita from the next ward remained with her for a long time, but being feverishly sick for some days, she excused herself and asked if she could go back to bed.
Do, Rita, go back to bed. And here, take my hot water bottle with you.
As Rita had a high temperature, a hot water bottle was the last thing she wanted, and although Kathleen suffered from the coldness of death, she thought of others before herself. Just as Rita was about to leave, Kathleen called.
I prayed for you, Rita. You will never again get a headache.
Rita used to suffer from migraine and severe headaches, which no amount of aspirin or sedatives could relieve. She is still alive, is married and has 2 in family, and acknowledged years afterwards that since that night she never again suffered from headaches. From 1:30 a.m. a nurse was with Kathleen, who sometimes talked, but her voice was so indistinct that nobody could distinguish the words. At 2 a.m. on the morning of the 7th of October, the feast of the Holy Rosary, her voice suddenly stopped. An expectant look came into her eyes. Then she stiffened and lay still. She was dead. After months of suffering, death came peacefully and quickly. On our return from the mortuary shed, the matron stopped suddenly near a large rose bush growing against the wall. There was one large solitary white rose growing on the bush. "That's strange," remarked the matron. "As far as I can remember, I never saw a rose growing on that bush before. And besides, it's an unusually large rose for this time of the year, the first week in October." The rest of the hospital staff acknowledged that no rose had ever been seen growing there before. We decided there was something special about that rose, and it was specially meant for Kathleen. Otherwise, both of us would not have noticed it so prominently. We plucked it, retraced our steps to the mortuary to give our last present to Kathleen, and one could not describe the feeling of happiness experienced this time. The first time one did not know what to expect, but this time we knew it would be Kathleen with a smile still on her face. and we wondered if the smile would be happier when we gave her what she wanted. The last present we were to give her, a white rose of purity. It was through her entwined fingers that we fixed the rose, so that no matter what shaking she would get in the coffin, it would not fall off her breast. It was a picture one could never forget. The white silken dress, the veil, the beads, the prayer book, a white rose and two lovely dimples. A large number of the patients came from their wards to the morgue here to see little Kathleen for the last time. Kneeling on the cold concrete floor, they rose, touched her hands and forehead with their rosary beads, their prayer books and holy pictures. Why did they do this? The answer was simple. They knew they were in the presence of a little saint who would intercede for them in heaven. Her words will always be remembered. If anyone hears about me and likes me, I will help them also, and will help them to be always good. Brother Conway was born in 1901 near Grange in County Waterford. He was the eldest of 3 children and grew up on a small farm. At the age of 15, he joined the Christian Brothers and was given the name Anselm. In August of 1943, he was sent to Ballinrobe. He was soon visiting the patients at the nearby Craig Sanatorium. Behind me here is the road leading into Cray Sanatorium. This was the road that Brother Conway walked when he came to visit the patients here, and also to visit little Kathleen. This is the sanatorium just outside Ballinrobe. It became a sanatorium in the 1920s. It was here that little Kathleen spent the last year of her short life and began her last journey to her final resting place in Cloughmore in Achill Island. There is an eerie silence about it now, a reminder of the times when Kathleen left this world and beyond, times of persecution and famine that stalked this beautiful country of ours. Buried beside him here is George de Very, who was also befriended by Brother Conway, who did not want him to have a pauper's funeral, and made sure he had a proper headstone. Why not visit little Kathleen? Talk to her. Spend some time with her. She is listening to you, and you have made a real friend for life. And please keep her grave clean and tidy. She would have liked it that way.
I carry a cross in my pocket, a simple reminder to me of the fact that I am a Christian, no matter where I may be. This little cross is not magic, nor is it a good luck charm. It isn't meant to protect me from every physical harm. It's not for identification, for all the world to see. It's simply an understanding between my Saviour and me. When I put my hand in my pocket to bring out a coin or a key, the cross is there to remind me of the price He paid for me. It reminds me too to be thankful for my blessings day by day, and to strive to serve Him better in all that I do and say. It's also a daily reminder of the peace and comfort I share with all who know my Master and give themselves to His care. So I carry a cross in my pocket, reminding no one but me that Jesus Christ is Lord of my life, if only I let Him be.